Honesty, passion, experience. It's Timberwolves Explosion, hosted on the Paladinolive network. And now, your host, Paladino Joey. Hello again, Timberwolves fans. Are you ready for the explosion of Timberwolves basketball? I am your host, Paladino Joey, or Joey Awajan. Timberwolves Explosion is available on all of your favorite podcasting apps, featuring Spotify. I thank you once and always for downloading and listening to this show. It is a great pleasure to be back on board with you once again. Today, Minnesota Timberwolves, well, we're talking about regular season basketball, though I'm wondering if we're still stuck in the preseason. Not really sure, but like this time of year, before Black Friday, basically, when the lawn cleanups are either done or just about done, I tend to do the shows on rainy days and Sundays or Saturdays or whatever the heck, rainy days or weekends. Well, it's a snowy day instead, or at least the snow has already fallen and it's still stuck on the ground, and now it's that cold, blustery weather after the snow, so can't be doing any lawns today. So here's Timberwolves Explosion on a Tuesday. Happy Halloween, by the way. It is Halloween. I don't know how many times I've recorded Timberwolves Explosion on Halloween. This just might be the first time. Maybe. Though maybe way, way, way back in the day. I don't really feel like digging in the archives at the moment to find that out. But what the heck. Happy Halloween, everybody. So regardless if you celebrate it or not, I know Purple Mafia's had it happen many times. Usually during a Vikings loss, but I'll digress to where I need to be. Those of you that, I don't know, let's not talk about Kirk Cousins' injury at the moment. It's not the most pleasant story in the world for all of us here in town. Yeah, Kirk Cousins' injury. It sucks. Luckily, the Timberwolves have been staying healthy. Knock on wood. I don't even want to think about it. Last year was a big waste. I better get moving here. This show will probably be fairly short, I'm guessing. I'm going to try to keep moving along. 3 to review, 3 to preview. We're going to go in that direction. I'm not going to preview like the rest of the month here. The show's release will be sporadic, like I keep saying. So, yeah, the Timberwolves opening the season opener in Toronto. So, obviously not in the United States, on Canadian soil in Toronto. Pretty sure that's the first time it's happened. 97-94 loss to the Toronto Raptors, the Craptors, the Raptors, whatever they are. The Timberwolves were the crappy team here, and apparently we haven't won a game in Toronto since 94, so that's pretty, 2004, so that's pretty ridiculous. Extremely ridiculous, actually. I don't know why it's been that long. Kind of, I don't understand. We just don't win there for whatever reason, regardless when we're good or not. Anthony Edwards, nice statistics, but overall this game is kind of similar to, basically, you can almost merge this game with the second half of the Atlanta game. It was like, what the hell is this? Like, we can't make a layup. Just seems like no rhyme or reason. We're turning the ball over too easily. We're not rebounding the ball also great. But I suppose we rebounded fairly well against Toronto because neither team shot well. Whereas the Wolves and Atlanta, the Wolves shot crazy good in the first half and crappy in the second. So in a lot of ways, yeah, I mean, I'm guessing the next episode will be kind of like brushing things with a broad stroke, which I kind of almost want to do today in a lot of ways. Anthony Edwards led the team in points and rebounds, which is great, but he shot 8 of 27. So it's like he was kind of trying to do too much. There's two good statistics other than the 26 and the 14, but actual statistics. 3 of 7 from downtown, pretty good. 6 of 6 from the line, excelente. But other than that, Mrs. Lincoln, well, how was the play? Timberwolves looked like garbage against Toronto. Unimpressive, uninspired. It was not a fun basketball game at all, to be quite fair. Again, nice statistics for certain players. Good to see Gobert getting, double-digit rebounds, 13 rebounds and 4 blocks, 15 points. You could argue he was the best player in the season opener. But this might be the meanest, silliest, strangest thing you ever heard. If Gobert's your best player in a game, you're probably not, that's probably not a good thing when you have Anthony Edwards and Karl Anthony Towns. If Gobert is your best player, and of course he's going to be sometimes, and maybe we're going to win games like that, say if he's dominant. But when it's kind of a run-of-the-mill Rudy Gobert game, outside of the 4 blocks, we'll take it any day of the week. And Karl Anthony Towns had 4 blocks as well. But outside of that, 15 and 13, I mean, that's not blowing anybody's socks off. But yeah, he was the overall best player, I would probably have to say, in the game. Naz Reid, Everybody loves having him back. I love having him back. I'm frustrated with the rebounding, though. I don't know why he doesn't rebound better. That's something that's been kind of eating at me for a while. Shake Milton got his debut with the Wolves. Missed some closies, missed some gimmies. I don't know. This was a crappy game. It was a shitty game. I said it. It's not like it's the end of the world if I say it. 34% from the floor, 26% from beyond the arc. Well, 3-point range. In fact, 25.8. It's pathetic. We shot well from the free throw line, but only attempted 22 free throws. And yes, the ongoing complaint, and it is a legitimate complaint, Karl Anthony Towns does not get a lot of calls, and it is ridiculous. So I can understand his frustration and anger and disillusion with how things have gone over the years. So I can understand it. Karl just does not get many calls. Moving right along to the Miami game, the butthead himself didn't play. And fans were chanting, "Where is Jimmy? Where is Jimmy?" And he blew us a kiss. How quaint. He waved and blew us a kiss. And see, this is the problem with the NBA now. The players don't give a F-bomb, or whatever the word is, a flying blank, about the fans. Joel Embiid almost sat out the season, the home opener for Philadelphia, just because it's kind of like, oh, I'm just taking the night off. What's going on? Your fan base waited all summer to see you. They're paying a fortune to go to the games. You want to sit out the home opener, and you want to sit out the home opener just because you want to, just for the hell of it. You're not hurt or anything. You just want to sit out, dude. Are you for real? Are you kidding me? This is unacceptable, man. I can't believe it. And then Jimmy Butler, second game of the season. Oh, what the hell, rest. What a douchebag. And I don't like saying these words, but what a clown, what a jackass. What's wrong with this guy? I can't imagine that makes the team of the Miami Heat. I can't imagine I can't imagine it not being demoralizing for the players. Bam Adebayo, I mean, how did he fail? I don't know. He only got 3 rebounds. He must not have felt too good. Nikola Jovic. Pretty good game, actually. He's emerging for Miami. Good for him. But, Kyle Lowry, Tyler Hero did shoot the ball pretty well. The Wolves blew this team out of the water, and that's good. We got to blow somebody out because we look like crud against Toronto, and I don't think we looked a whole lot better in the second half versus Atlanta. In fact, you could argue we looked even worse. Yeah, 106-90, a solid, convincing win. Naz Reid was everywhere. The fans love him. They were, cheering for him everywhere he goes. We love Naz Reid. 25-8. Thank you. 8 rebounds. That's a start. Gobert, 14 rebounds again. Good for you, man. No blocks, though, which is annoying. Nickeil Alexander-Walker starts again because, he started against Toronto. Hasn't looked too good as a starter, and that's too bad. I was hoping he'd be a little better. He's a long guy, but I still see him as a shooting guard, like a backup shooting guard who gets, significant rotation, 9-man rotation type of minutes, 8-man, 9-man rotation type of minutes. That's how I see Nickeil Alexander-Walker. A starting small forward, I don't know. The defense is definitely there. A steal and 2 blocks. We appreciate that. But an overall nice night for the Wolves. But again, no Kevin Love either. Injury, inactive, illness. BS. Injury and illness. But I suppose inactive rest, though. See, because it's right there. It's right there. Inactive rest. Second game of the season. Jimmy, did you play 30 games in the summer or something that I'm not remembering? Did I miss that? So I'm sorry, but geez, at least you didn't have that goofball hair. Like keep expressing yourself, Jimmy. You expressed yourself nicely, but I don't know. Just play. I don't understand that. A nice solid win for the Wolves, though, and we appreciate it very much. It's just, but at the same time, it's, I don't know. I can't imagine that Miami team was all too pleased with Jimmy Butler's behavior. I don't know. I don't know what to think about it, but when he plays, though, he's the king of kings out there on the court. I guess. Atlanta. The first half, the Timberwolves were the Harlem Globetrotters. Alley-oops, three-pointer, alley-oop, dunk, driving to the basket, flying all over the place. Fun. Absolutely fun. The Wolves were dominating Atlanta, up by 21 at one point. Second half, we were the Washington Generals. We were getting scorched by DeJounte Murray, who I would love to have on the Wolves, quite frankly. I'm sure Vince Germano would love to have him on the Lakers, which we talked about off the mic. Yeah, I'm sure both of us would love to have him because I've never understood this 2-point guard thing. It doesn't work. When's the last time it worked? Let's see. Portland with Damon Stoudemire and Nick Van Exel. Did it work? It was fun to watch, but they didn't win jack. They were like the typical 8th, 9th seed type of team. Atlanta, is it going to work there? They're probably going to be the typical 8th, 9th seed. Golden State, I don't think it's going to work with Chris Paul, even though he is backing up. He's coming off the bench and everything, but still, they're not going to, I don't know. I hope they don't win anything, but I suppose they have more pedigree than any of the other teams I've mentioned. Denver, didn't Denver do it too? I think it was Nick Van Exel and Chauncey Billups, right? You had Gary Payton and Sam Cassell in Milwaukee for a minute there. What's the point? Why make trades like that? It didn't make any sense, and all of us were dying for Gary Payton to wind up with the Wolves, and then he winds up on the bleeping Bucks. Remember that years ago, about 30 years ago in February around that time, 2003. Really, man? So stuff like that always drives me nuts. But regardless, they kicked our butts in the second half. Kobe Buffkin, that's an interesting name. AJ Griffin, I'm getting him mixed up with the new head coach of the Bucks. It's another Griffin. Capella had 5 blocks and 5 rebounds, and that's about it. But still one of my favorite players, and I'd still take him on the Wolves. At a significantly cheaper price than Rudy Gobert, yes. Gobert, though, 3 good games in a row. Respect. Respect is out to Rudy Gobert. Naz Reid had some moments, and then he was a huge mess, and so was just about everybody else in the second half. As we were Washington Generals, we were turning the ball over, we were getting dunked on, and we were getting scorched from outside by DeJounte Murray. 3 of 5 from outside. Trae Young only 1 of 7. Sadiq Bey, 3 of 3. DeAndre Hunter, 3 of 5. 46%, almost 47% basically for the Atlanta Hawks from three-point land. Just under 56% from the floor. Wowzers. They just absolutely obliterated the Minnesota Timberwolves, particularly in the second half. And we'll talk about another clown who got traded finally to the Clippers again. Another clown show. Some nice players there, but they're never going to win anything. They're good. It's a good team, it's a talented trio now, but they're not going to win anything. They're clowns. Sorry. I'm going to be using that term quite a bit nowadays. Wolves did shoot 49% from the floor and 48.5 from outside, but that was mostly the first half. Second half, the Wolves were just turning the ball over like it wasn't even funny. In fact, they only had 10 in the game, but it felt like 100. Anthony Edwards was a huge mess. Naz Reid tried a courtside pass, and every turnover wound up being points, so that's the other way to look at it. Like, every turnover was like, a fast break going the other way for like a catch-and-shoot 3, that run-and-gun crap that I don't always like very much, but sometimes it's okay if it's a momentum play and all that, like get the wind out of our sails, that type of thing. If it's the whole game, I don't like it. That's the Warriors. Yuck. Hate them. Otherwise, they're like dunks, getting to the basket, layups, dunks. It was a huge mess, but, points off turnovers, definitely in the Hawks' favor, particularly in the second half. You go from the Globetrotters to the Generals, and that's exactly what the Timberwolves did in the second half. Karl Anthony Towns, this is a huge, huge complaint. 1 free throw attempt in the game. Are you kidding me? Particularly when you think most of his game was inside. In this one, he did make 1 3-pointer, which helped the Wolves kind of hang in there, so to speak. But the big 3 by Murray at the very end of the third quarter to tie things up, you just knew things weren't going to go well in that fourth quarter with all that momentum in the third. In fact, you'll see my tweet coming up in the fan interaction segment about how, yikes, that second half was bad. What was it, like 67-34, I believe was the point total in the second half in favor of the Atlanta Hawks. So it's pretty bad, pretty rough, pretty ugly. So very disappointing, to say the least. 1-2 to start the season, and not a whole lot to brag about, not a whole lot to write home about either. To keep things moving, the Lone Wolf Award is going to go to Rudy Gobert, I guess. I guess it's going to go to Rudy Gobert. He wasn't great in these games. He wasn't great in any of them. But he had some moments, and one of his, the assist he had in the game was a beautiful dish to a cutting Karl Anthony Towns. I appreciated that very much. That was in the Harlem Globetrotter first half, but second half wasn't a whole lot to brag about. At least Rudy Gobert didn't officially turn the ball over, but he was a minus 13. Naz Reid lost it in this game because he was a minus 21, and he looked like a minus 21. And that one rebound in 24 minutes, I don't know. I mean, I don't know. I love Naz Reid, so I'm not bashing on him, but that's not good. That's not good. I think he's better than that. I don't know. How many rebounds did we have in the game? 38. That's, I don't know, nothing to brag about at all. But both teams did shoot super well, so there weren't a whole lot of rebounds to be had. I guess I'm going to give it to Rudy Gobert. Anthony Edwards statistically was good, but he was a bleeping mess. 13 of 21 from the floor, 5 of 8 from three-point range. Great. 31 points, 7 assists, 5 rebounds. That's great. 5 turnovers. Sucks. And I don't know, the second half, he was just a mess. It's too bad because he would have gotten it. He would have gotten it easily if he wasn't such a dang mess in these games. Because clearly he was the best player on the floor for the Wolves, but I don't know, he made a lot of mistakes as well along the way. So I guess I'm going to go with Rudy Gobert like last year. Back-to-back years, Rudy Gobert gets the first Lone Wolf of the year, and that was pretty much it the rest of the season, which was kind of sad. Jade McDaniels making his season debut. 5 of 6 from the floor. I say give him the ball way the heck more if you can. 2 of 2 from three-point land. I mean, hello. It's like hello, like Wally Zerbiak would say. Yeah, give him the ball. Give him the damn ball. I know he's not the focal point of your offense, but if he's hitting and sticking, then give him the ball. 12 points. Could have been better. Easily. Man, he looks long, doesn't he? He looks longer than everybody on the floor except maybe Rudy. But that was a crappy finish. Final score when we were up by 21 in this game, remember? 127-113. Timberwolves outscored the Hawks 42-35 in the first quarter, 37-25 in the second. You think we blew them out of there. Third quarter, right back where we started into the last, it feels like 15 years in a row now, 38-19, and the fourth quarter, 29-15. To think the score was tied after a 38-19 third quarter. So it's not like the game was over, but the momentum, it was a freight train in favor of the Atlanta Hawks versus the Timberwolves' little Hot Wheels car on the train track. I think the freight train won in that battle. With that said, the Johnny Flynn Memorial is going to go to. There's no real obvious choice, is there? I don't know, Shake Milton, kinda. He wasn't too good. I don't think there's really an obvious choice. It's not going to be Carl. It's not going to be Anthony Edwards. It's not going to be Conley. I don't know. I guess it's a gentle one to Shake Milton, even though he was pretty good against Atlanta. So it's very gentle, and I can't give it to Naz Reid. You'll all kill me. So Nickeil Alexander-Walker his offense was definitely Johnny Flynn-like, but his defense wasn't. It was, definitely better than that. So I guess a very gentle one to Shake Milton at the end of the day. We'll take a quick break and return right away for 3 games to preview. And we are back here on Timberwolves Explosion, segment number 2, preview segment. Denver, Utah, and Boston all in Target Center. Good. Target Center. Yes, sir, as we come into the month of November, which is cleanup season and Thanksgiving season and all that. So happy Thanksgiving season coming up as it's happy Halloween at the moment. Is this the first Timberwolves Explosion to be on Halloween? I'm not sure. It might be. At bare minimum, I can count on one hand, despite the fact this show has been around since August 2008. One of the oldest podcasts on the planet. That's still, still going. It's got to be. I mean, it's got to be, right? That's actually still running. So, not to get cocky or anything. No. I'm going to refresh the Timberwolves numbers. Yep, good. Anthony Edwards, yeah, he is averaging 25 points a game. He's 60% from downtown. That's great. So he is making his threes, but his overall field goal percentage, because he's missing bleeping layups and stuff. Come on, man. This team has been missing gimmies, and that's the hugest problem with this franchise at the moment. We can't make layups. Like, what's going on, guys? We're missing gimmies, like close to the basket, little kind of floaters, and I don't know. It's garbage. Karl Anthony Towns 37%, 25 or 23.5. He wishes 25% from 3-point range. Yikes. Just think about that. Anthony Edwards is shooting 60% from 3-point land, but 44.4 from the floor. Yeah, it's been fun. We got to see Daishan Nix for a minute, literally a minute. So good for him. Leonard Miller played his first 2 minutes. Nothing, unfortunately. That was just now. Troy Brown, 2 games, 10 minutes. Not a whole lot to write home about at the moment. So now we will rapido move on to the Denver Nuggets. The world champion Denver Nuggets, as we begin the month of November in Target Center. The Nuggets are picking up where they left off. 4-0 on the season, the way they kicked Miami's butt. Still can't believe Miami went to the finals last year. That's got to be the end of that. Jimmy Butler's not going to play in the finals again. There's my prediction. That'd be kind of shocking, actually. November the 1st, 7 o'clock, Benilde St. Margaret. No, I'm just kidding. Benilde St. Margaret. That'd be a Valley Sports North. Denver's 10th in points. Wolves are 26th. Rebounds 22nd for Denver. Weird. Wolves are 6th. Field goal percentage, Denver's number 1 in the league. Yep. Wolves 21st. 3-point percentage, Nuggets are 8th. Wolves are 11th. So on and so forth. So we're going to kind of go from there. Some of these other numbers, we don't need to babble forever. It's a 4-game season series. Wow, we don't play them again until March, though. Till March. So we're going to cram them all in very late in the season. So Wednesday, November the 1st, Tuesday, March the 19th, Friday, March the 29th, and Wednesday, April 10th, which is right about the end of the year, where hopefully the Wolves are winning the division, you know. Yeah, sure we are. I don't come into this one feeling all too good. The back-to-back MVP, NBA Finals MVP, world champions, you know, that would be Nikola Jokic, of course. Jamal Murray, the scorcher, 50% from the downtown, 49.2% from the floor. Can't even see. Am I blind? Okay, 20 points a game for him, where Jokic is averaging 8.5 assists. Murray's averaging 8.3, so it's Harlem Globetrotter ball over there. That's incredible. Just about 17 assists a game between those two. Jeez, 12.3 rebounds, 26.5 for Jokic, and 64.7 from the floor. Even Aaron Gordon, 63.4. He obviously is a very athletic, guy who lost the dunk contest a couple times in a row when he maybe could have, should have won, that kind of thing. Reggie Jackson's on the Nuggets now. Reggie Jackson has been well traveled. And Kentavious Caldwell-Pope, KCP, as we like to call him, former Laker and 15 other teams, is on the, I believe he started with the Pistons, right? On the Nuggets, obviously got a ring last year. Bottom line, I don't think the Timberwolves win the game, and I hate to be negative, but I just don't. I think the Nuggets go up to 5-0, unfortunately, unless they play tonight first. Nope, the Nuggets did win their first 5 games versus the Clippers, the Lakers, Memphis, Oklahoma, and Utah. We don't need to go over the scores except Oklahoma, 128-95, just shellacking. The only close game they had was against Memphis there, so interesting. Denver wins the basketball game, bottom line. Most likely leading scorer for the Wolves will be Anthony Edwards again. He's going to pretty much be every night. I should probably just get off of that because it's kind of obvious who our leading scorer is at this stage with the Minnesota Timberwolves in our history. It's going to be Anthony Edwards most of the time. I just don't see a win. I think Jokic kind of gets it done. I see a close game, though. I think the Wolves play very well. I think we're going to see an improvement, but Denver's going to win like they always do in close games. Final score at the end of the day will be 118 in my crystal ball to 114. The Nuggets win by 4 over the Timberwolves. Next, please. The Utah Spaz are 1-3 on the season. They're 12th in the Western Conference. Not quite as good as, where am I? Okay. Not quite as good as the Denver Nuggets. Not quite. This will be on Saturday the 4th, will I be doing cleanups on this day? Probably. That's my guess. Lauri Markkanen is up to 25 points a game. What an amazing player. Would be nice to be on the Wolves, but I suppose we're set at power forward and center, whether we like it or not. It is also a 4-game series, a division rival. Saturday, November the 4th, Thursday, November the 30th, and then we get to March. Saturday, March 16th, and Monday, March 18th. The first two will be in Target Center, and then the next two will be in, well, guess where? Salt Lake City. Yeah, the last game, October 19th, was preseason, but yeah, they are 1-3 on the season, losing 130 to 114 to Sacramento, beating the Clippers by 2 points, getting crushed by Phoenix, and then losing to Denver by 8. Most recently are the Utah Jazz. The Jazz are 17th in points, 7th in rebounding, 22nd in field goal percentage, and 20th in three-point percentage. A winnable game, and one I think the Wolves need to get the job done. But Jordan Clarkson has had his way against the Wolves forever. He's been a Timberwolves killer. I swear he's averaging like 25 points a game against us. Dead bleeping serious. Walker Kessler's numbers are up. Watch out. Walker Kessler's numbers are up, except for his blocks for some reason. Only 0.8 a game. But just watch. He's going to get 5 or 6 versus the Wolves. Former Timberwolves Chris Dunn is also a backup point guard for the Utah Jazz. Good for him. 15 minutes a game in 4 games so far. So good for him. Cool. 4 points and 2.3 assists. He's obviously nothing special, nothing to write home about, which I'm going to say about 50,000 times on this show. But regardless, Walker Kessler Jr. would love to have him on the team. He's averaging 24 points, 24 minutes a game, 7.5 rebounds. John Collins, the former Hawk, 13.5 points, 10.5 rebounds. And Lauri Markkanen has definitely improved his rebounding over the years as well. So he was more of those scorers that doesn't rebound a whole lot. The guy can really shoot the basketball, man, and he's a good player. 46.7. He's not the most physical guy. That's his field goal percentage, but free throw percentage, almost 93. Almost 93. Impressive. Three-point percentage, 43.6. And again, 25 points a game. The Wolves will win this one. Anthony Edwards gets... I think Karl Anthony Towns has like 25-point game. I think Anthony and Karl combined for 50. 25 at least per player, and we win the game versus the Utah Jazz. Will it be a comfortable win? I don't know about that, but I think the Wolves do win the game. The Jazz do give up points, and they don't score a whole lot. Walker Kessler, though, don't be surprised if he gets 4 or 5 blocks. I got a feeling it's going to happen, and Jordan Clarkson's going to give us a hard time. The Wolves will win the final score of 120 to 112. Wolves win by 8 over Utah, but it won't come super easy. Wolves pull away late in the game and win by 8. Boston Celtics, they might be better than the Milwaukee Bucks, but they'll have to do it in the postseason. I think there's a pretty good chance the Celtics get home court in the Eastern Conference, but the Bucks probably still beat them. I just got a feeling about that. Boston Celtics in Target Center, thankfully. But my goodness, we get to play Boston and Denver. Yikes. That could have been the NBA Finals, and it would have been really good, actually. 29.7 points a game for Jason Tatum. Jaylen Brown is just coming off a 36-point game. Sheesh. 24.7. And Kristaps Porzingis is averaging 20.7. Impressive. Kristaps Porzingis, of course, now a member of the Boston Celtics, as is Drew Holiday, who is a defensive stud and a playoff-tested stud. He could be one of those difference makers if the Celtics will go on and win the title this year and they get past the Milwaukee Bucks. I would say he would be the reason why in a lot of ways. Not because Tatum and Brown stink or anything, but because Drew Holiday would be that piece that's, hey, I won a title and I've won with that team. Here's how we can do it to possibly beat them, because we also choked last year to the Miami bleeping Heat in the postseason. So they've kind of had a lot of they've been at the top and the bottom when it comes to the Bucks. As for the Celtics, though, they've had some great moments, but then they've choked. They choked against the Warriors. I thought they should have won that NBA Finals. I'm gonna say that the rest of my life. That 22 Celtics should have won the title, but they blew it. They simply blew it. Like seriously, Andrew Wiggins, give me a break. I'm sorry. No, that should never have happened. It should never have happened. And then the Celtics fell apart as they got further in the playoffs last year. Timberwolves are not going to beat this team. They have to go out and prove it, and I don't see it happening. I think the Celtics are going to sweep the Wolves this year, unfortunately. Season series, it's an Eastern Conference team, so we will play them again on Wednesday, January the 10th in Boston, and TD Garden, whatever it's called now. I don't know if it's Ameritrade anymore. Celtics are 8th in points, 2nd in rebounding, 7th in field goal percentage, and 12th in three-point percentage. They do a bit of everything. Like I said, Tatum is averaging almost 30 points a game right now. 55.4 from the floor. Porzingis averaging only 7.7 rebounds, but he's a threat, and he blocks 2 shots a game. Is that Drew Holiday? Drew Holiday is averaging 2 blocks a game. Wow. He is a longer guy. And 12.3 points, 4.0 assists. Obviously, a talented guy, a veteran, a grizzled veteran, who might be the guy that helps toughen this team. Might be that guy in the locker room that says, hey, stop crying about calls, stop this and that, stop getting down on yourself because you missed a shot or something. You know, we can beat these SOPs, and maybe that's what Drew Holiday does and pushes the Celtics to the NBA championship. I just might be wrong about the Bucks, but we'll have to wait and see. Prove me wrong, Boston. But the Wolves have to prove me wrong as well when it comes to Boston. The Celtics will win the game. They have only played 3 regular season games so far against New York, Miami, and Washington, which recently they crushed Washington 126-107. They'll be playing Indiana and Brooklyn before they play the Timberwolves. But Celtics get the victory. Final score 1-1. It's not going to be the... I'll say this score will be a little bit lower. Something along the likes of 112 to... I think it's going to be like 112 to 102, something like that. They beat us by 10, unfortunately. And the Wolves go 1-2, and we are 2-4 on the season. Yeah, 2-4 on the season after this week, which would be pretty disappointing to start things out. But, you know, the first 6 games are not the season or anything, but it's a slow start. Prove me wrong, Wolves. That's all I got to say about that. For now, we'll take a quick break and come back for fan interaction. And we are back here on Timberwolves Explosion, the third and final segment of this episode. Most recently, episode 372 was the season preview. Do check that out if you haven't yet. So it's like, in case you missed it, yeah, do check it out if you could. Really appreciate that very much, no doubt about that. Vince Germano out of Australia, Tanae Brown and Levi Brown out of New Zealand, and Benzo out of the Bronx all retweeted the most recent show. Thank you so much. Really appreciate that. Courtside countdown time, huh? So we'll come back to that. Nick Timus, awesome. He's also from Aussie, right? I believe so. Yeah, he's from Aussie, right? Karaoke, Anyhow, what was I saying? Yep, courtside countdown. There it is, random hoops. I was saying love these so much. Yeah, because that's like the 90s there. It's like the early to mid-90s. Yeah, because Luke Longley was already on the, that's the mid-90s, like Luke Longley and Ron Harper, guys like that. The countdown, and there's the classic Hornets, Bogues, and all them. I think this was like 94, actually, because Ron Harper and Luke Longley were on the Bulls already. Because that was a long time ago, you know, when those guys first got on the Bulls. They weren't winning championships the first day they got there. Yeah, LJ was still on the Hornets. Oh, my God, it's gorgeous. There's the fabulous Forum Sonics at Lakers. Oh, my God. Beautiful. Eddie Jones wearing number 25. So I was saying I love these so much. And then Nick Dima says, me too. This was the exact year I started getting into the NBA, and I watched NBA action religiously. Me too. I go back a tiny bit earlier. So before Detlef Schlymp was on the Sonics, he was still on the Pacers, basically, type of thing. I didn't see him as a Dallas Maverick way at the beginning in the late 80s. But I did see him, pardon me, as an Indiana Pacer. That's actually how I remember him the best. But then ultimately, he had several very good years for the Sonics as well. He's an interesting guy, boy. Good player. Yeah, thank you, Nick Damas. 3,000. Benzo coming in out of the Bronchies, sorry. I'm a little bit weird. The Twitter account is at TWolvesEX. I really didn't even mention, where's he getting this from? At TWolvesEX on X. And there's also an Instagram. I don't think there's been any. I think it's mostly likes. I don't know if there's comments. I better check that out too, because there's an Instagram now for Timberwolves Explosion. Oh, yes, and I was saying thoughts on Jaden McDaniels' new 5-year, $136 million contract. I didn't even talk about that. Shame on me. Benzo was saying he needed to get this done. Glad we did. I agree. Tanae Brown said, glad it's done. Roughly where I thought it would be, too. 5 years of Ant and Jaden will hopefully be really fun. I hope so, too. I really hope so, too. So, yes, 5 years, 136. It, at the end of the day, it feels like a lot. It really does. But he's an extremely good player, and unfortunately, that's the market. That's the market now. It seems like yesterday that was like what LeBron James would sign. Now I'm stuttering all over the place. That's what LeBron James would sign back in the day. It's now that's like your fifth guy basically, but still super valuable piece. Maybe your third or fourth best player overall, but he's an insanely valuable piece. Like if you lost him, it'd be really bad. So you're willing to pony up and give him $1 bajillion, and we're already paying $1 bajillion to Anthony Edwards, Karl Anthony Towns, and Rudy Gobert. So that's a lot of money tied into 4 guys. So it's 4 players there, and then ultimately we still need a point guard. Love Mike Conley. We're actually paying him pretty well too, but it's the final year of his deal, and well, unfortunately, if we want to get DeJounte Murray, we might have to give up somebody very significant like a Karl Anthony Towns, which that conversation has been brought up, but I don't know if it's been brought up by like Timberwolves brass or anything, but we've heard like ripplings, I guess, but we'll just leave that where that is. What was I bitching about? Regarding the Timberwolves season opener in Toronto, I'm not impressed, man. That was not good. So many easy opportunities just went by the wayside. Very sloppy. I don't care how many years it's been since we won there. It's nonsense. We're better than that. Yeah, that was my thoughts on Toronto. Vavel Platform says, hey, your content rocks. Could you give us a follow back so we can talk? We have a proposal for you. So I'm guessing that's probably a tweet or post or whatever. Okay, I'll give him a follow back and we'll see what happens. Am I going to make $1 billion now because my content rocks? We'll see. Tanae Brown said missed layup after missed layup, and the third, that would be the Hawks game. I stopped watching them. Yep. Yeah, it was bad. I was saying I do not understand this team. We were destroying Atlanta, and now we're getting killed. Yep. So bull crap. And another random hoops, a beautiful, beautiful highlight here. Like this is Reese Pedretti coming out of Brisbane, Australia. An awesome guy. Absolutely awesome guy dating back to 2012. We first started interacting. He's actually the guy that first introduced me to the Courtside podcast. And, of course, that basketball show was what he did years ago with Train as well. So, God, I missed you guys. and I love these random hoops posts. At Hoops Random, but it's like called Random Hoops. Great hustle by Terry Porter and finds Gugliotta at the buzzer. Yep, he made a save. Basically saved the ball, but a perfect pass to a cutting oogly baby. And, he actually knocked the ball away to Terry Porter, then hustled to get the ball back as it was kind of bouncing away. Just incredible ball handling skills and patience and precision. The googly Otta with the dunk at the buzzer. Those Wolves and Phoenix games back in the mid to late 90s were a lot of fun, man. They were a lot of fun. That's Danny Ainge, isn't it? So Ainge was the coach back then of the stuff. I remember that. It was a terrible start and not a good finish either. We'll continue. Phoenix is still waiting for a title all these years later. Thank you so much for posting that. I really appreciate it. Reese Pedretti, I love that so much. Reese, yep. Reese, Mr. Reese. Pumpa is his nickname. I'm like, wait a minute. There's the very well-known nickname. Yes, Pumpa is his nickname. Coming out of Brisbane, Australia. So with that said, I believe that's about it. If you could put a positive rating for Timberwolves Explosion on Apple Podcasts, on any of the other apps like a Spotify or anything like that, it'd be greatly appreciated. It obviously helps the algorithms of the show. The show obviously needs that to kind of get going in the right direction again. It had so much momentum years ago, and then when the team kind of fell off the face of the earth, and maybe I was a little overly critical at times, fans kind of tended to disappear, this and that. Plus, maybe I'm not on the same page with everybody on the planet politically. So that's just kind of how that goes. But, that's life. I probably shouldn't even have said that, but I did. And I'm not taking it away. Just thank you so much for listening. We're going to keep this we're going to keep this show coming as best possible. Obviously, with the it's not going to be a consistent release until Black Friday-ish. Right around there is when we get regular Friday recordings during the regular season, like we like to do here on Timberwolves Explosion. But until then, the releases will be random, but hopefully often enough, per se, like every week, every other week, or every 10 days or so, until maybe things go in the right direction and all that. We get finished with all the stupid lawn service. Sorry, I'm distracted and I shouldn't be getting messages out of nowhere here. With that said, again, like I said, the algorithms, please do a positive rating if you could, even if it's just the star. But if you want to put a review also with it, to be greatly appreciated. Otherwise, tell your friends about the show, share it, retweet it like you have been. Don't be afraid to call in by using the audio submission route. Basically, open your smart device, open the free voice recording app on any smart device you might have, because they all have it. You can download a free one or in the App Store of any Apple or Google, or you already have one built into your phone or tablet. And basically press record, treat it like a phone call, and when you're done, share it / email it, after you save it, to Paladinolive@yahoo.com, Paladinolive@yahoo.com. I will then convert it into an MP3 file thanks to cloudconvert.com, which you guys can use as well. I'm more than happy to give them a free plug because, well, they're giving me a free service to do whenever I convert files for these shows. So it's really wonderful to have. With that said, have yourself a great few days here, and we'll be back hopefully with a better playing Timberwolves team to talk about on the next episode of Timberwolves Explosion.